Well, hello. Inspired by Brian's recent basement tapes, I thought I'd do the opposite and climb into the loft or roof or attic, whichever way you want to call it, of my house to show you what space I have available, or rather the lack of, and what challenging surroundings I've got. Basically to prove that you can build a layout almost anywhere. So, for those of you not familiar with the UK housing building methods of recent years, ours was constructed in 1986. There is quite a few beams around here that are positioned in some sort of a W shape that support the roof, probably spaced apart. Well, I guess they were supposed to be spaced apart 2 feet roughly, but they seem to vary a little bit in my case. And that obviously causes all sorts of access issues, as you may see here. And you've got to kind of work your way around it and put a layout around it. So let me just pan the camera around and I'll show you an overview of my loft and how that looks. As you can see, lots of support struts, never mind all the junk on the floor, because it's also storage space. So here's a ventilation pipe that comes out of our shower area, and unfortunately I can't get rid of that because we wouldn't have any ventilation anymore in our bathroom area. On the plus side, however, I do have all sorts of vertical struts that I could just attach wooden beams to, on which I could mount the various baseboards. In this case here I've used insulation foam. Sadly that's become very difficult to obtain, so where I extended the layout I ended up with plywood and all sorts of other materials to try and finish this thing off. Now when I started here, this was a switching layout, point to point, very small, but slowly but surely I've been expanding it over the years, and made it such that I can now run around the entire length of my layout, and if I so desire, sit down and just watch the trains go by. I wasn't quite happy with the area here, so I've started late last year to rip up the old track plan, and I'm now in the process of redesigning the yard area here to give me more operational potential and no longer run. I'm not quite ready yet with the final layout of the spurs here at the front. That's still under debate, but largely the main tracks are laid down and wired up, and I can now run around. Talking about running around, I'll just do a quick video tour, and I'll start right here with a Southern Pacific Type 23 depot, which is obviously as yet the centerpiece of this unnamed area. I haven't come up with a good Californian nickname. It's not modeled on any particular area because I don't think I've got the space to model something with the operational interest and that would fit in this space and do it justice, so I just freelance. So from there we go around to the far end of the loft, and excuse a couple of beams again, crossing quickly over, zooming in a bit, there we go, going around on the other side, more beams all the way around, and this is where the main light splits up. One is disappearing into staging behind the backdrop. Currently single spur, but maybe in the future I'll let that drop down to go to a second level and put storage underneath, but that might compromise access, so I may not do that. So continuing on, here we've got the little town of Mendo, named after Mendo County in California, under construction. So move forward. There we are. This bit is built on a foam board again. And here we've got the small industry there, and it's rather crowded with trains here at the moment because I moved them all out of the way while I was working on the yard on the other side. Going round. Mind the beams. Whoops. This is where the track appears again from behind the backdrop. Making a nice run round. And here is a consist of 3 GP9s going into the tunnel, coming out the other end. And as you can see here, here's one of those infamous support beams that holds my roof up, and I've just modelled around it. So, far from ideal, and they're quite often in the way when I'm trying to do something on the layout. Can't quite reach in with my arm. I have to, also considering that there's a big hole in the bottom there that I don't want to fall down. But needs must, and basically that's my compromise on being able to have a great hobby. Anyway, that's it for now. I think I'll go and find a red wine. See you later.